just lying in bed, and I wanted to just do a recording about today, and I didn't want to wait till tomorrow morning because I didn't trust myself to record then, and I feel like it's important to try and talk about what happened today while it's more fresh in my mind and while it's still happening. So I guess my complex PTSD got triggered, or symptoms dealing with that got triggered, and something I've mentioned in the past as well, with kind of seeing people and conversation, where it can get quickly overstimulating, and I can get very quickly drained by overhearing conversation. And that was the case today. It was really nice seeing people, and when I found myself in the sort of a group of us having a conversation, a small group, I very quickly found myself in a state of that it was just unbearable for me to be there, that I could listen to any more conversation and have any more left in me. And so I had that kind of physical and mental reaction to that. And then there's also a reaction to trying to make an exit from that social situation, which was very stressful for me to do. To say, that I was feeling tired, or I just needed to rest, and it was hard to do that. And it took a lot of strength for me to sort of kind of stand up and make it known that I was going to sort of leave. And then there was part of that trigger was also just my difficulty, especially in groups, where I just get very quickly drained and I start dissociating, and it's just really difficult for me to sort of participate in that. And it feels like it's something so normal for most people to be able to have sort of enjoy company in a group, and I always find it quite difficult. And it reminds me of when I first noticed this, probably like 5-6 years ago now, maybe something like that, where I was meeting up with a regular group of friends. There's probably a good 5-6 of us who I would meet from my support group I used to go to, and we'd meet for coffee and meet for walks. And I began to notice I was feeling very dizzy and drained. And it was just something that just felt like came out of the blue, like it just wasn't happening, and then it was happening. And that seemed to happen more and more. And it's, just continued, and maybe, I don't know if it's more severe than it was then. Maybe the impact of it is, for sure. So there was a mix of all of that happening, and as what I noticed, the physical symptoms of being triggered is that I was feeling very dizzy, and I felt like someone had given me like a sedative to have. My body was very drained, very heavy. I was feeling confused, and it's almost like someone had given me some really bad news. And the impact of that's what it kind of felt like. And I had I was triggered myself, which I think I talked about here. And it's a very similar experience. So I can notice that my kind of reactions are becoming more intense and severe, and it's taking a more physical toll on me. And sometimes I get worried about the damage it's doing mentally and physically on my health. They're both very connected in that way with this. So as I kind of left that social situation and walked home, I was just like hanging on for dear life almost. I felt like I was in such a bad state, and you kind of add in the depressive symptoms as well, and it makes it so much worse where those depressive thoughts come in about not being normal, to be able to enjoy sort of group interaction and think about people in my life who perhaps are able to do that, and obviously just people generally. It just makes me feel quite alone and alienated, and I'm already sort of dealing with those depressive thoughts and things, and it's kind of aggravates those about myself, and it just doesn't feel normal. It feels like I'm something, of course it feels like something is wrong, but there's the unhealthy thought of something's wrong with me. I'm not, normal, like, so for like this whole afternoon and evening, I've just been doing my best to calm myself down. I've been doing deep breathing, and I've been sort of healthily distracting myself with watching a series, because I just felt like the pain was so unbearable, the mental pain and the physical symptoms. It just made me feel so unwell. And I wanted to record this in the evening, earlier on in the daylight, kind of sitting up and having my phone on a tripod and just being able to talk a bit more freely than as I am now, sort of holding the phone up or laying in bed. Not that I need any more difficulties with sleep, but it feels like I'm hoping it doesn't impact whatever sleep I get tonight. And I don't think in some ways I could get myself out of that social situation quicker. Like I probably needed to exit earlier to not endure or go through the state of not being able to take any more conversation, but having to not knowing how to exit or having the strength to exit. So I definitely sort of endured more than I needed to, for sure. But I noticed on the way home, the mind just wanted to figure it out and analyze stuff. And I think on one level, it's not a huge amount to analyze. It just feels like that's the current capacity for me, with like overhearing conversations and things. But I kind of the mind wanted to try and fix it or resolve something or make itself feel better. And it was like, because the mind was in full-blown sort of dysregulation and dissociation. So it was just like, the more I tried to use my mind to analyze, the more I would be injuring myself, the more making things worse. So it was so hard. Just when I was walking home, I put on some ASMR and just tried to focus on the compassionate voice I could hear on the other side. And I kept kind of losing the voice, going into somewhere else, and then having to pull myself back to the presence and listening to the voice and try and calm myself down. I feel like now that I'm not watching the TV program I had on all evening, I feel a bit more vulnerable, and it's difficult with sleep as well. I I'm in a slightly vulnerable state and I can't go to sleep, it's a natural space for your mind to want to think about things and all of that stuff. But it doesn't feel like I've done a good job explaining things the way I wanted to. I think a part of me has calmed down just by the way I'm talking. I think I don't think I know it's still sort of going through my system as well. And sometimes I'm just worried that this is the current sort of reactions I may have to deal with right now when I get triggered by something. That's going to have this sort of severity of it, feeling very dizzy and weak in the body. And it's something I've mentioned to the doctor when I see them. And yeah, I'm kind of in bed before bedtime, so it's like, I think it's just gone 10 o'clock in the evening, and so it's humid again, so I'm not sure how much sleep I'm going to get. I can feel how much my body needs to sleep and how much it's so tired. But yeah, I'll try and just do my sort of mindfulness practice and not almost force myself to try and go to sleep or pull in that effort too. But just try and relax, maybe take the pressure off. Kind of feels like I wanted to say so much more or sort of articulate how my afternoon went and the symptoms so much more, but I'm feeling quite drained and tired. But yeah, I'm glad I managed to just record this, even if it was just a really basic explanation and description of what I was feeling. If I've got tomorrow if I want to talk about it more or something else. Yeah, I feel like it's always weird with the deep breathing. It feels like I need to do it because I'm in such a, it feels, there's like lots of pain there and difficulty, and feels like I'm kind of desperate to sort of calm myself down. So maybe I'll just continue with that, and try not to dwell on what happened today. But I also want to be accepting of it and not sort of downplaying it as well. Trying to see it for what it is. So yeah, 'cause it may be a case of where things, that reaction might need to be addressed somehow. So I can't imagine it's good for my body to go through that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna just keep with the deep breathing, just try and relax my body as I lay in bed, and yeah, hopefully some sleep comes. Yeah, I think that's it.